All right, guys, this is Passport OG. Call me PPOG. And if you weren't paying attention, the Manosphere, or more specifically, the Passport Brothers, had one of the most important streams in the history of this movement, if you will, for two reasons. The first reason was it was one of the largest streams, almost had 1,000 likes. I think it actually hit 1,000 likes, and it had an average of about 800 to 900 viewers for the great majority of the stream. And even at the end of the stream, when maybe in EST time it was almost 3 o'clock, there were still almost 650 viewers. Okay. The second reason, of course, is that we had viewers from a great variety of places. We had people from Brazil, we had people from China, we had people from almost all of the continents in on this live stream. And we got the chance to learn 4 things that I'm going to tell you that this live stream said to the average person who does not understand about the Passport Brothers. Okay. So with that, let's start. The first thing we learned is, and I'm going to do this here. We're going to stop this camera. Okay. The first thing we learned here is why men are going overseas. And for this one, I'm going to let you guys listen to the kosher clinician. Okay. And
is based on a concept called needs. It comes from a psychoanalytic theory called needs-based outcomes. And so needs drive behavior. But see, what happens many times, guys, in America, we tend to minimize the importance of men and their needs, and we tend to magnify the needs of the woman. And so what you're seeing now is guys are more or less saying we're going to get all our needs met based on Dr. Wim Glass's 5 points of as it relates to choice theory. So those 5 concepts are power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival. But see, they always talk about their needs as it's based on.
Okay. So that was a cultural clinician, and he was talking about what men are going overseas for. Okay. So let me come back to the camera. Men are going overseas to get needs met, things that they want. So, and this is fair use, by the way. Men are going overseas because what they're seeking, they're not finding where they are. They're looking for basic needs to be met in their relationships. And for a lot of these men, they're not finding that. And so, of course, the best option is that they're looking for these things overseas. More importantly, the stereotype is that men are going overseas for easy sex. Maybe there are some tourists doing that, but men that have plans, men that have ambitions, they're going overseas for more than that. And I like to thank the kosher clinicians for that clip it. Part number 2. Get rid of my camera here again. Okay, we're going to come back here and we're going to talk about what I learned second is that men want culture. Men are looking for cultured women. And this would be Charles in Charge podcast talking about this one here. I'm going to pull him up here. I want you guys to listen to this clip about what men are looking for overseas. Okay, here we go here. And here we go here.
What most American women are and how they are raised and what their values are, they fall short of what you're going to find in a woman who doesn't grow up in that culture. Like I said, I can speak for that because my wife is Dominican and her family values are still one of the Dominican culture. So I get treated like a king. What most American women.
Okay, so that's Charles in Charge talking about his situation or what he's looking for. Okay, so men are looking for culture. Men are looking for culture, and they're looking for, more specifically, cultured women. So if you want to build a family with a certain set of values and standards and cultures, quite simply put, a lot of the men in this group are looking for cultured women to build cultured families with. And as you heard him allude to, he found that in a woman from the Dominican Republic. But if you listen to this broadcast, and for the people who are actually married, I think culture. I think that a lot of men on the panel are married. I think kosher clinician is married. But of the people that spoke, many of them spoke about the fact that they're looking for cultured wives. They're looking for a culture to plug in their family and have values and standards for their families. They're not going over, they're not looking for easy sex. That's not what we heard on this panel tonight. They're not looking for easy women. What they're looking for is culture. They're looking for cultured family. They're looking for the things that we saw in our families 2 or 3 generations ago. Okay. Now, the third thing is, I'll go ahead and hit this camera here. The third thing people were looking for is, the third thing I learned in this broadcast is that people are, men are having certain experiences with American women. Okay. And I want you to listen to this clip. Okay. And this is the Culture Clinician. I want to go ahead and bring this up here and let you guys listen to the experience that a lot of men are having with Western women.
Their needs as it relates to men. They always try to minimize our importance, and they always try to look at the worst outcomes. But see, many American women don't necessarily want American men as it relates to honor, respect, and value. They want men to be commodities for their own solipsistic needs. And so,
right.
Okay, so what we're getting here is that men are finding in America that the virtuous things that would be great for starting family are not being valued anymore. Or this is not my opinion. This is the experience of people. This is what men are coming to terms with. The ideal of being an upstanding man who's virtuous, who's dependable, those are not nearly as important as Cultural Clinician clearly said. They're looking for the clout, the money, your commodity, right? Okay, so let's go to this. The fourth thing I learned here is, and this is Marty McFly, and I want you guys to listen to this clip, and I'll have to apologize for there's a little bit of cursing in this clip, but it's quite entertaining. And what you guys should pay attention to, and this is the fourth point I want to make, is that the shame is not working anymore. The shame is not going to work. The age of shame is over. And you know what? I'll let him tell you better than I can. Okay, so we're gonna do this here and take a look.
To be honest with you, I'm at the point, I don't care. Whatever's going on here, like the other guy said, I forgot his name. He's like, the point of discussion is over. Only thing I like to talk about is how we're going to make money overseas, how we can get together when we get over there, and how can we buy some property and make a prosperous time over there. This whole thing about going back and forth with the women and no, it's really this. Listen, that was in the 90s. That was in the early 2000s. These millennials don't give a fuck about, you know why? Because when Instagram and Facebook came along, not only did it make the hoes global, but it also made the world global for men, because now we don't have to be.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to switch you guys back. So the shift now is, and let me get this back up here. Okay. The shift now is that guys are commodities in the global marketplace. We're seeing now that the marketplace has changed. There's a global marketplace in America, and you're seeing a group of men who are acclimating themselves to this market. And before I sum up this video, I want to give a shout out to Austin Hollerman if this ever reaches him or the guys on this panel. And I'm probably butcher some of your guys' names because I'm busy and I have my limited time to do my YouTube stuff. But here in Japan, as I am, I'm following the Passport Bros. And yes, a lot of this rings true for a lot of young Black men who are, you don't end up overseas traveling by mistake. These are men with plans that are calculating things. There are a lot of brothers in this panel, and I wish I could get to everyone, but there's one brother, and I'm following him, and he's I think he's in Colombia, and he's talking about how well he's living in Colombia, and that he's taking what he's accumulated in America and multiplied it sixfold. And we have a lot of people, a lot of men in this group who are seeing opportunity overseas. And this stream was a very good example of showing what this Passport Bros is all about. It's not sex tourism. These are not men that are striking out with women, so they're giving up and they're going overseas. These are the next generation of men with ideals, and they're planning lives, and they have plans, and they're thinking big. And that includes taking a trip outside of America to make it happen. And of course, part of that is finding a person to start a family with, starting a family. And you're seeing men that want women with values, men who want culture, men who want family values. And these men are not finding it where they are. And we are looking overseas. So at that, guys, I'd like to say thank you to everyone on the stream of fair use. Don't get mad at me, Austin, if you see this. I'd like to thank everyone in the stream, because it was a really incredible stream. And if you don't have 7 hours to watch it, you probably find yourself missing some bits. But just understand it, this group is not a monolith. It's not a philosophy. It's just a set of ideals that there is opportunity overseas, not just for dating, but for business and for networking and what have you. And people are looking at those opportunities. They're going to take those opportunities, use those as a way to further their lives, maybe branch their family tree into another country, and make the most of the opportunity. And that, I believe, gentlemen and ladies, is what the Passport Bros are all about. All right, catch you on the next video, guys.